facing head-on the emotions beneath the surface as we bridge from an old world of confusion and lack to a beautiful new world of freedom, abundance, and love with straightforward truth and inspired hope is what you'll find on The Charla Anderson Show. Collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating. Here's your host, Charla Anderson.
Good, beautiful day, you beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of the Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people, and everyone is fascinating, especially you. So honored that you would join and take the time to listen to me today and to learn from me and my guests. We're on the most amazing platform, winwinwomen.com, winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Amazon Fire, all those streaming services and podcasts by Podetize. Excited for all of these things that are going on. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go here. I'm extremely excited to introduce to you Emmalou Penrod. But first, we're going to take you on this tiny little mini vacation of a 22-second breathing exercise, and it helps us all get grounded and centered. And I just want you to take that moment, and we're going to breathe in calm for 7 seconds. We're going to hold for 4 seconds and breathe out gratitude for 11 seconds. So let's do that and get ourselves centered. Ready? Here we go. Breathe in this calm. Hold. Release. Breathe out gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't you feel better? I do. So today, here we are, and I am excited to introduce to you my friend, Emmalou Penrod from Utah. We got to meet at a retreat in June, and she is a delight. And we've got so much to learn from her. Families are so important, and how, sometimes we're struggling in our families to communicate well and all that. And she's an expert at that, a master educator, amazing lady. And I cannot wait for you to learn and glean all we can glean from this beautiful lady, Emmalou. So thank you. So I know you're one in a million. There's that little story. So welcome, Emmalou. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charla. I love that intro. And thanks for the breathing exercise. It really helps just to take that, like you said, only 22 seconds and get grounded. That is powerful. Well, I am excited to share. I know that families are the foundation of society. My goal is to make the world a better place by strengthening families. And so I want to talk about conflict. And, it's inevitable. Anytime you have two people sharing a living space, there will be conflict. There will be differences of opinion. Whether it's a husband-wife relationship, parent-child, extended family, there are differences of opinion. Would you agree, Charla?
Absolutely. Not my family, but I know that, right? Love just doesn't cover it all. It just doesn't cover everything, right? So I love so much about what I read about on your website and different things that you're doing, and how you choose to is this conflict resolution. Conflict is inevitable. And contention. What was that? Was that the word you were using?
Contention is not required. You can resolve conflict without contention. Now, let me specify what I mean by those two words. Conflict is when you have a difference of opinion. And when you resolve it properly, it strengthens your relationship. It helps you understand each other more on a deeper level. And Contention, on the other hand, weakens and even destroys relationships. So when you have that difference, that's in it, and think about all of the differences of opinion in family life. There's the temperature the thermostat is set at. There's when do we eat meals? Is it at a specific time, or is it more of a time frame? It's where do we squeeze that tube of toothpaste? In the middle or at the end? Just take a few minutes and think of
toilet seat up and down. How's that?
Yes, the toilet seat. Where is that left? All of those are those differences that, if ignored or can really grate. So they need to be addressed. Now, I just want to cover 4 points on what I found to be the best way to do this. And the first one is to, I call, have rules of engagement. Now, in the best of all possible worlds, at that point where you're falling in love with this new person in your life, you both have the maturity to realize that maybe we haven't had a disagreement yet, but sometime we will. Let's decide now, while we're both calm and feeling the love, what are our rules? What are appropriate ways to do it, and what are not appropriate? For example, do we both agree we're not going to raise our voices, or that we're not going to swear, or that we're not going to bring up old baggage? And if you can establish this, and even if you didn't at the first, it's never too late to take that calm moment. You're feeling the love. You both are invested in the relationship. You want it to be happy and successful. And you start establishing these rules of engagement. How do we handle it when we have a disagreement? If you wait until the moment when you're having that disagreement, emotions are running high and you're not going to do your best thinking. Now, you can do this with children as you're raising them, and you're teaching them that we don't raise our voice. We speak to each other respectfully. And they're also watching how you and your spouse, how you handle disagreements. They're watching your example. Would you agree? Children are always watching us.
Yes, they do as I say, not as I do. That doesn't work.
Yes. So that's the first step.
And so we also consider, so I'm going to use a different word, maybe, that preferences, my preferences, I've never cared about the toothpaste too, and your preferences, it's got to be nice and clean. That's a word that I feel like if we would just recognize that these are preferences or habits rather than attacks against you or against me.
Exactly. And sometimes you may even use a scale, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being you absolutely have to have it this way, and 1, you want it the other way. Where do you rate? And sometimes, you may decide, if it's just a preference, you may decide, let's take the average of the two and go with that. So yeah, establishing, but the important thing is to determine in advance, how will we address a difference? How are we going to resolve it? How are we going to discuss it? Will we discuss it? Will we discuss it in front of the children? Or will we wait to do it in private? When we will we decide, you may decide we won't go to bed angry, or we may decide we'll wait till we're both feeling rested and at our best. But establishing in advance, before you're in the heat of the moment, how you're going to resolve that difference is the first step.
I love that. It's really, it's a plan of action, and because it gives you a checklist, even perhaps, look, where I'm not, I love that. I think, I bet you offer something along that line too.
And it's setting healthy boundaries. You're teaching this person how to treat you and what you will accept. And it really can eliminate any type of verbal abuse or emotional abuse if we agree in advance. When we disagree, this is how we will resolve it. So that's the first step. The second step is ask yourself, am I seeing this other person? Am I seeing them as a person or an obstacle? Because let's face it, when we're in day-to-day life, especially with this person that we see every day, and we know what we want, and this person isn't allowing us to have what we want, it's easy to start seeing them as an obstacle. And we forget that they're a person. And we need to be able to recognize that we're doing this, that we're no longer seeing them as an individual with their own needs, feelings, goals, and we're just trying to impose. If I can just get him to do this, if I can just get him to understand, we're not going to get very far in resolving conflict.
The blocks.
So be honest. How am I viewing this? How am I viewing the other one? Can I see they are a person? They have their needs too. Maybe setting the thermostat at 65 is just too cold for them.
Finding the balance is critical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, once you can view them as a person, you're looking at not at the enemy, not at the adversary, not at the problem, but you're seeing, here is someone I love and care about. And I want them to get what they need too. I want them to be able to reach their goals. I want to support them in whatever way I can. That naturally leads to respect. That's the third thing. Now, do you know, in family life, some people feel respect is even more important than love. Have you ever said something rather thoughtless and even cruel to someone you loved that you might have refrained from saying to someone you respected? And I think
pretty sure that that's happened a time or two.
And it's natural because sometimes we get so comfortable in this love and we feel like, well, I should be able to be free to say whatever's on my mind. But if we can blend, of course we need love, but blend it with some respect, some care for their feelings, some desire to want to help them reach their goals, and to want to maintain a positive relationship with them. I think it's a serious mistake to assume that, our love is so strong, it doesn't matter what we say to each other, we'll overcome it. I think that's dangerous ground. So I think it's important to remember that respect. Now, this is huge because when you are feeling respect for the other person, you're not seeing them as the enemy. You're seeing them as an ally. Now you can invite them to collaborate with you. Okay, we have this issue that, the thermostat, the toilet seat, the tube of toothpaste, whatever it is, and it's causing some contention. Let's talk about it. Let me understand how you feel about it, what your needs are, how strong of a preference, I love your word preference, how strong of a preference is this to you? And this is when you use the active listening. You're not planning your response while they're still talking. You're listening to understand them. You're putting yourself in their shoes. How would I feel if I were them? And then you're explaining how you feel. So maybe he didn't even realize that the toilet seat was a problem. Maybe he was just not even aware of it. But once he hears in a calm voice from the woman he loves that it's causing her problems, now he is aware. So this collaborating, rather than attacking the other person, just invite them to collaborate with you.
And that's huge. It's huge to me. Partnership. So when I know that I don't have a partner right now, I choose because one of the things is mutual partnership, right? One of my highest values. And we start getting into the small things, the details of life that really don't matter in the big scheme of things. And when preferences are unmatched, and I love it that you're able to point all those things out in this calm manner ahead of time.
And also, when you're in this calm manner, you can make really good decisions and evaluate, is this, carefully weigh out what are the benefits of this relationship? What are the pain points, the drawbacks? Is it repairable? Is it time to choose my peace of mind over? And, this is when you do your clearest and your best thinking. Now, let me apply it to a child, because of course you don't divorce a child. Your relationship with your child changes as they get older. But if you are treating them with respect and understanding that your goal as a parent is to raise them to be an independent, is to work yourself out of a job, right?
Yep.
So if you're remembering that, and as you resolve conflict with your child, you're treating them with respect and allowing and encouraging them to make more of their own decisions, and recognizing that, it's really tricky. You think about it, Charla. You start out with this helpless little babe that needs your attention, love, and care 24/7. And in 18, 20 years, you now hopefully still have a close friendship, maybe even you're mentoring them, but accepting that they don't need you anymore.
I have a saying, though, that if they were born at 14, there wouldn't be any. They come out like this, and, they're adorable. And, then they're almost 2 and a little bit hard to keep up with. But then they turn 14 or 11 or 12 nowadays, I think. And it's like, what was I thinking? Now I have 3, Anyway, I just thought that was.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if we have, as we've nurtured them, we've developed this trust, this rapport. There will still be times, there will be lots of conflict during those teen years and preteen years. Overall, they know, they see us as someone that they can come to. You think about the life-changing decisions they make at that age. It's terrifying to think of the choices they could make that would impact the rest of their life.
And guess what? I did a talk about that to 8th graders. It's been several years. And I took a 100-foot rope and I literally colored the 13 to 20 years in a red. And I tied every 10 feet off. And I, basically, so I would say, who knows who wants to be the baby and hold this end, and 10 years, who has a 20-year-old that maybe made some siblings that maybe made some mistakes, that have affected their life. So they get to carry this rope around the whole room. And here I am at 69 years old. And many of the decisions I made back then are still affecting me today. And I felt like that was a very powerful visual to impact that's a long time. Those little 7 years there is not that long.
That is a powerful visual because they tend to think that this is all there is. So if they can see this is just a short part of your life, and yes, it's hard. Yes, it's stressful. There's a lot going on inside your body, inside your head, and around you. I love that. That's brilliant. I love it. So those 3 steps are all leading to have that win-win. If you are approaching this conflict with the idea, I can't win unless you do too. We both need to benefit from this. Then there is no need for contention. There is no need to attack the other person, to tear them down, to try to control them. By the way, the most miserable, unhappy, frustrated people I have ever met are people who are trying to control things that are out of their control. Have you noticed that too?
Oh, absolutely. I have. So I'm going to bring up my little book that is going for bestseller today. If you guys happen to be watching it today, July 19th and 20th. Today's the 19th, I think. Yes, going for bestseller, and it's free on Kindle on Amazon for a couple of days here. So, but I want to say one of the things I say in this teeny tiny book with a big message is I did what I did. I didn't do what I didn't do. I did all that I knew to do with what I knew at the time, just like you did and are doing in your life right now. I love you. And I kind of call it a forgiveness release. It's like, I can't change what I just did. I can't change anything before just this second. I can only change the next second, the next move. But I did all I knew to do at the time. And another book that I truly feel like has some of this is the 4 Agreements. Did you ever read the 4 Agreements? It's like, don't take things, the 4 Agreements are be impeccable with your word. Don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions and always do your best. It's an amazing book by Don Miguel Ruiz. However, not taking things personally, because the vast majority of things that people say and do has nothing to do with you, or almost nothing to do with you. It's where they've come from, right? Not because of you. Now you might trigger their things, but we need to, it would be really valuable, I believe, in our society if we quit taking everything so personally and being offended by everything. I think that's become kind of an epidemic in a way.
I agree with you there. Now, please tell me the name of your book. You said it's up for bestseller today and tomorrow.
I didn't say it. Candy bar hugs. It doesn't take much to make a difference. So type in Candy Bar Hugs book. Otherwise, you might get real candy bars coming up. But this Candy Bar Hugs, a tiny book with a big message. It's a pay it forward type of book. On Kindle, on the ebook today is free today and tomorrow. So let's go for it.
And I loved your resolve that you did what you could, because the past is one of those things we have no control over. All we can do with the past is learn from it.
And take a next, if we don't like what just happened, we can take a different step. We can change, we can stop in the middle of a sentence if we're being ugly, right? Can we just stop in the middle of a sentence when we're going, and you did? Wait a minute. 22 seconds. Breathe. I'm going to change that. We can stop. We can change the trajectory of the conversation if it's not going well.
And deep breathing is huge. Did you know that deep breathing moves you from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic? It signals your brain, okay, calm down, slow down. So just taking that 22 seconds for that deep breath can help you stop mid-sentence. I loved how you made that point. That is beautiful. And recognizing the only person you can control is yourself. You can't control anyone else. Even your children, you can influence your children, but you can't control them.
Exactly. So my next book that will be out before the end of the year, The Split Second Transformation, Change Your Words, Change Your Life, 31 Daily Practices. It's going to be, it's got so much, good stuff, a lot, change your words, change your life, because every word matters, right? So I say this nearly every show, just because it's so important. Every word matters. And we say things we don't mean or don't like. We need to speak life, not death. We want to speak positive words to ourselves and to our families. And I think it makes a big difference. One of my chapters in there, I think you might find interesting, for conflict resolution. And it's called The Elephant in the Room. And I heard this many years ago. And perhaps you get, as a wedding gift, what if you gave a stuffed elephant to the couple with a little card that says, when something's coming up and there's this elephant in the room nobody wants to talk about, or it's, you feel that tension rising about something, go get the elephant, put it on the coffee table or on the bed or wherever your place is. And it gives an indication to your partner that you need to talk about something. And have this little elephant as a humorous way, because humor will make a big difference too, right? A simple, humorous way to grow into that conversation just a bit in a sane and safe way, right? So
I love that.
I think it's simple.
You're absolutely right about humor. Quite often in families, it's money. Money becomes the elephant that everyone tries to tiptoe around. So, but it could be any topic. If it's, just ignoring it doesn't work either. It needs to be addressed. There needs to be some communication, dialogue done in a calm, respectful way.
It just seems, I just thought it was brilliant when whoever I heard that from.
That is, I love that idea.
And what a fun wedding gift, along with something else, but just something that with a beautiful, you could make it into a beautiful card, the reason they're getting an elephant and then how they could, but that would be in the preparation stages, they give them.
Part of establishing those rules of engagement. How are we going to settle differences? And that's an excellent way for that topic that everyone's too embarrassed to bring up. And then it
escalates and it gets, all of a sudden you're attacking somebody, or that you're being attacked, and you're like, I didn't know there was anything wrong, but something's been building, and just it. I think what you're offering, this whole concept is so incredibly needed right now, and I want to know, how do people actually find you? How can they find out more about this particular topic? And if they want to help solve conflicts in their own relationships?
I'm on LinkedIn under my name, Emmalou Penrod. I also have a YouTube channel, my name, Emmalou Penrod. And I have a website, healingyourfamilies.com. And
you have a TV show called?
And I do have a TV show called Healing Your Families, and it's on Win-Win Women, and it's at 3 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday.
Yours is today as well, right? So we've got
hours away. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So Win-Win Women, you're a show host, and I don't think I mentioned this in the very beginning. I certainly meant to, but as a co-show host on this platform, it's one of the longest running ones, I'm believing, right? Weren't you one of the early adopters?
Yes. And this is the only global interactive platform for women.
In the world, yes, global. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And we love it. We love Paula Fellingham, and I know you're on the executive board, and you guys, uh, uh, it is going to explode.
Well,
Literally, I feel like it's ready
the,
to.
the vision, the mission.
The vision, yes, is
Let's care,
impact.
connect, and collaborate with all the women of the world. We can learn from each other. We can support each other. And if the women can collaborate, will the men be far behind?
I've been saying for quite some time, I feel like the world of competition is old school now. It's not good. We're in a world of collaboration with 8 billion people in this world. There's plenty to, to sell to or to buy from or whatever the relationship happens to be. And I used to tell my kids, when they would get upset when they would break up with somebody, and I was like, there's at the time 7 billion people in the world. Find another one. It's like it's a little bit harsh, probably, but there's a lot of people in this world, and we think we have just a small, our little world, but it's huge, and I think it's amazing that the world is getting smaller in so many ways, but we still.
Oh, with technology, we can communicate with women all over the world.
And that's the point of Win-Win Women. Someone in a village in another country that doesn't even have internet can get to, somewhere. And the goal is they need information that we have, and they can go and start and then searching for information on how to heal their relationships, information on how to speak positive words, information on how to start a business, information on how to be a salesperson. I mean, and health, all of the things that we all need information about it. But the goal, that's the dream of Paula Fellingham, is to have access to every bit of information that the wisdom of our show hosts, and there will be many of them. There's already.
We can learn from people from other cultures as well.
So it absolutely works both ways.
It is a win-win.
It is win-win, and the women collaborating is so huge. And I felt that when this little group of 12 of us, a dozen of us or so, of hosts and executive team members, and Paula Fellingham got to know and love each other and realize that there's no competition. We're not there's no cattiness. That was a word when I worked in offices before I was a flight attendant, that I was like, I like men better. They're not so catty, they're not so or whatever. I feel like, anyway, I'm off path here. So back to your 4 points. Would you reiterate them if I can speak it?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So 1, establish the rules of engagement. Best time is when you are just starting the relationship, but it's never too late. At any point in a calm moment, establish the rules. How will you resolve differences? Decide healthy boundaries. What behavior is acceptable? What behavior is not acceptable? The second one is be honest. Ask yourself, am I seeing the other one as a person or as an obstacle? And change that, shift that mindset. See them as a person. That leads to respect. And then the fourth one is establish a win-win, a way both of you can resolve this difference and both of you come out okay with what's most important.
Absolutely.
So those are the 4 steps. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you, Charla. Love what you're doing. Love your books.
You are so welcome. And I want to, you have a resource on your website, right? You've got an ebook or a
Yes, 8 steps to change a negative reaction to a positive response. Sometimes in family life, we just get this knee jerk, the kids just push our buttons and there's this knee jerk reaction. You can change that.
I think that's man. I mean, get a dozen of those, pass them out. Your family, Also, do you mind mentioning something about what is the conflict for children, the bedtime? I wrote it down, Goulding process.
Okay, yes. You mentioned words. Thank you for bringing that up. I meant to bring it up when you were talking about words. You said how powerful they are. Well, especially to children. They're up until the age of 8 or 9, they will literally take everything they hear. You slap a label on their child, they believe it, they become it. And even when you're doing the best you can to be very kind, they still have the rest of the world. They go out on the playground, they go to school, they go out in public, and they get this negativity that is actually writing those mental programs that run in their brains that help them define what their value is, who they are, whether or not they're good enough. And children act out and misbehave because they're hurting. They don't have the ability to come home and say, man, I really had a rough day at school. I'm just really feeling down on myself. I need you to say something positive to me. They can't do that. What they can do is come home, slam the door, kick the dog, and throw their book bag. And if we react just to that behavior, we're just adding to their pain. So this is a process. It was developed 40 years ago by a very brilliant woman who had an extremely angry, unhappy child. And it's making use of that brainwave activity. It slows down when we're asleep. It slows way down when we're sound asleep. So there's this just right range where they're open to suggestions. And through a systematic approach, if you suspect your child has some real negative mental programs going that's causing some really problematic behavior, they can learn this process and help their child. It literally rewires their brain. I don't know if you're familiar with neuroplasticity and how the brain can change itself. It actually helps them rewire their brain to something more positive.
I ran across it maybe a year or so ago, and I was like, I want to look into this a little bit more when my baby, the infant, now she's 19 months. I feel like that was going to be if that became a thing, I thought going to sleep might be an issue. And I wanted to look into it a little bit more at that time. And here I just rediscovered it. I'd forgotten about it. She's not problematic for going to bed or sleep, but
that is the age, that is the age that you can start, anywhere from 18 months till about 12. Now, when they get 11 or 12, they're going to take more than that.
Yeah, it's like that. That's where you put them in a box and close the door and go, okay, we'll see you when you're 20. No, seriously. So I did want to point that out because I feel like there is I saw that on your website, and I'm assuming there's a certification of some sort for you to be able to
yes, I went through the certification. So, and it's called I'm a sleep talk consultant, so I can teach that process if parents are interested.
I'm very, very interested and familiar with they've done so many studies now, Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton and that group of,
yes,
the placebo effect and all of those things that literally people just with their mind are healing things. I mean, healing themselves. And I think it's incredibly powerful. And we've gotten, so into the pharmaceutical world that we don't realize that our body literally has that innate ability to heal itself. Even
Exactly.
I have a friend that doesn't even broken bones. She just has chosen to.
Yeah, we greatly underestimate the power of our minds and our children. We can teach this to our children too.
I found it. I may send this to you if I remember, but I saw a little video of this little girl standing on the sink, and she's up there. I like my pajamas. I like my house. I like my room, and I like my mom and my, she's just self-talking at 4 years old into this. She was so cute. And I feel like that we need more of that. We need more of that. And by the way, you said it for children, but it would be so amazing had we had that. And so many adults don't know how to process stuff because they didn't have it as children either, right? So
mindset, it's huge. What we can do, we have affirmations, vision boards. It's powerful.
And there, if you actually on YouTube, there is a ton of all-night meditation, so to speak, that have the healing and the theta, and the alpha and the theta waves and the correct hertz of music that helps your, get into that state, and affirmations and things like that. And I've been doing a lot of that in the last year or so. Well, I'm excited that you came on and shared incredible insights and wisdom with us. Thank you so much, Emmalou, for coming along and joining us today.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Charla Anderson Show, encouraging you to stand strong and courageous with bold faith, no fear, immense hope, kindness, and love, especially towards yourself. Visit charlaanderson.com for replays, blogs, and more on her ever-expanding website, as well as watch her live TV show on winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so that we can continue learning together and growing this community of beautiful souls, we invite you to share the Charla Anderson Show with your circle of friends. Until we meet again next week, remember always, choose joy.